Ministry of Labor and Employment Notification. Ministry published Notification GSR 713-E on November 13, 2020, proposing draft rules under the Code on Social Security 2020, 36 of 2020, with a 45-day consultation period ending December 31, 2020. Draft rules published on Ministry website and Shram Suvidha portal for stakeholder accessibility. Rules effective immediately upon official Gazette publication, per Rule 1-2. Consolidation of previous rules. Notification consolidates and replaces 9 previous central government rules. Employees State Insurance Central Rules 1950. Employees Provident Fund Appellate Tribunal Rules 1997 Procedure and Conditions of Service. Employment Exchanges Rules 1960. Maternity Benefit, Mines and Circus Rules 1963. Payment of Gratuity Rules 1972. Cine Workers Welfare Fund Rules 1984. Building and Construction Workers Welfare Cess Rules 1998. Unorganized Workers Social Security Rules 2009. Draft Rules and Preliminary Provisions. The Code on Social Security Central Rules 2020 establishes nationwide standards for Social Security programs through detailed definitions, electronic registration, and organizational frameworks with specific membership requirements, short title and definitions. Rule 2 defines 23 key terms including agency, appeal, authority, average daily wages, benefit period, career center, cess collector, and other terms essential for code implementation, registration, and administration. Rules 5 to 17 mandate establishment registration within 60 days for new businesses, outline cancellation procedures with 30-day notice, and provide 14 guidelines for fund administration. Employers must register electronically through the Shram Suvidha portal, with certificates issued immediately or within 7 days of verification is needed.
Social Security organizations. Rules 18 to 42 establish 3 key bodies: Central Board, 15 members, Employees State Insurance Corporation, 24 members, and National Social Security Board, 31 members, including 7 women representatives. Meeting procedures require 7-day advance notice, 50% quorum, simple majority decisions, quarterly meetings, and member compensation of $2,000 per sitting plus travel allowances, Social Security schemes and benefits. The Code on Social Security establishes benefits across various sectors, including Provident Fund, insurance, gratuity, and welfare schemes for organized and unorganized workers, covering sickness, maternity, disability, and dependence needs. The Code establishes procedures for these benefits. Employees Provident Fund appeals through EPF Appellate Tribunal, electronic registration via Shram Suvidha portal, and transparent fund administration. Employees State Insurance medical coverage through ESI facilities, sickness compensation, and maternity protection with wage replacement. Gratuity payment nomination in Form F within 30 days of eligibility, and disbursement within 30 days of claim submission. Building workers welfare cess collection at 1 to 2% of construction cost, and fund management by state welfare boards. Unorganized workers centralized database registration with unique IDs and Social Security provisions administered by the National Social Security Board. Key benefit provisions. Sickness benefit, 70% of standard benefit rate for up to 91 days with medical certification. Maternity benefit, 26-week coverage with additional provisions for miscarriage, 6 weeks, termination, 6 weeks, and tubectomy, 2 weeks. Disablement benefit, 90% of standard benefit rate for permanent disabilities with periodic medical assessments. Dependents benefits, 90% of wage rate for families of deceased insured persons distributed among eligible dependents. Gratuity payments, 15 days. Wages for each completed year of service upon termination.
Building Workers Welfare Fund providing educational assistance, medical coverage, and housing subsidies. Unorganized sector registration system for gig and platform workers with portable benefits accessible through digital platforms. Compliance, monitoring, and enforcement. The code establishes comprehensive compliance through standardized record keeping, inspections, penalties, and reporting systems. Key compliance requirements. Record maintenance. Registers Form XXI, daily attendance, wages, and leave records maintained for 5 years. Annual returns Form XXII, due January 31st, covering all Social Security contributions. Inspection and assessment. CES assessment 1% of construction cost with on-site verification within 30 days. Inspections quarterly by Social Security officers with 72-hour notice. Penalties and appeals. First violations $50,000 with 30-day correction window. Appeals file within 60 days with 25% pre-deposit. Employment information. Vacancies report positions exceeding 20 to career centers within 15 days. Returns quarterly workforce demographics due by the 15th of following month. Compliance mechanisms include 7 mandatory registers with daily, monthly, and annual updates. Electronic filing of quarterly returns by the 15th. Building CES assessment with pre-assessment hearings. Inspection powers including sample collection and witness examination. 50% penalty reduction for voluntary disclosure within 30 days. 98% digital submission compliance requirement. Documentation includes 24 standardized forms for appeals, Form XXVI, nominations, Form X, gratuity, Form T, payment notices, Form S, and vacancy reporting, Form EIR-1. All accessible via the Shram Suvidha portal.
Code on Social Security 2020. A comprehensive overview. This landmark legislation consolidates 9 existing labor laws, extending Social Security benefits to all workers, including those in the informal sector, gig economy, and platform-based employment, through established institutional frameworks. The Code on Social Security 2020 represents a significant reform in India's labor legislation, unifying 9 previously separate laws into a single comprehensive framework. This consolidation streamlines administrative processes, reduces compliance burden, and enhances business efficiency while strengthening worker protections. Enacted as part of the government's broader labor reform agenda, the Code introduces several transformative provisions designed to modernize India's social security infrastructure and expand its reach to previously excluded workforce segments. Key features and innovations. The Code extends social security coverage to all workers, particularly addressing the previously underserved segments in informal employment, gig work, and platform-based occupations. It introduces a universal registration system through which workers can access multiple benefits with a single registration process. The legislation creates specific provisions for emerging employment categories, including fixed-term employment, and establishes clear employer responsibilities. It harmonizes definitions and thresholds across various social security schemes to ensure consistency and prevent regulatory arbitrage. Institutional framework. The Code establishes robust administrative mechanisms for various social security schemes through institutional bodies, including Employees Provident Fund Organization, EPFO, manages retirement savings and pension programs with enhanced digital infrastructure. Employee State Insurance Corporation, ESIC, oversees health insurance and medical benefits with expanded coverage parameters. National Social Security Board, specifically tasked with formulating policies for unorganized sector workers. State-level implementation authorities ensure effective regional execution of central schemes, welfare programs, and benefits. These institutions are mandated to administer and oversee crucial welfare programs, including Provident Fund schemes, facilitating retirement security and financial safety nets, employee insurance benefits, providing comprehensive health care and disability protection, gratuity payments, rewarding long-term service with enhanced portability features, maternity benefits, supporting women workers with expanded coverage and options, specialized welfare initiatives, tailored programs for unorganized and construction sector workers addressing their unique vulnerabilities. The Code aims to achieve universal social security coverage through these integrated mechanisms while creating a financially sustainable system that can adapt to India's evolving employment landscape and demographic transitions. Administrative framework and governance structure. The Social Security Code establishes a comprehensive governance architecture with integrated central and state bodies collaborating to implement robust social security programs through equitable representation and transparent accountability mechanisms. Governance structure. Central government formulates national policies, establishes standards, and supervises implementation across states. 1. The Ministry of Labor and Employment serves as the nodal ministry for policy formulation, develops funding frameworks and allocation methodologies for various schemes, issues clarifications and amendments to address implementation challenges. Social Security organizations, EPFO, ESIC, and National Social Security Board serve as specialized implementing agencies. 2. EPFO manages Provident Fund, pension scheme, and insurance fund. ESIC oversees medical benefits, disability payments, and unemployment allowances. National Social Security Board coordinates welfare schemes for unorganized workers. State boards customize implementation strategies to regional contexts, while adhering to central guidelines. State unorganized workers boards address sector-specific needs. Building and construction workers welfare boards manage specialized CES funds, facilitate last-mile delivery of benefits through district-level committees. Employers ensure statutory compliance, make timely contributions, and maintain required documentation. Register establishments and employees within prescribed timeframes, maintain digital records of contributions and benefit disbursements, facilitate inspections, and provide information as required by authorities. The code establishes a strategically designed three-tier administrative framework comprising central regulatory bodies, state-level implementation groups, and local monitoring authorities. The Central Board, EPFO, and the Employee State Insurance Corporation and corporate representation from government officials, employer associations, and worker representatives, fostering collaborative and participatory decision-making processes. These empowered organizations maintain autonomy in fund management while operating within prescribed financial discipline parameters and undergoing mandatory periodic audits. The code defines the jurisdictional authority, administrative powers, and statutory responsibilities of key executive positions, such as the Director General of ESIC and the Financial Commissioner, to ensure transparent governance, efficient resource allocation, and effective program delivery. The administrative framework also incorporates specialized committees for investment management, benefit assessment, and grievance redressal. The code mandates digital record-keeping, periodic disclosure requirements, and performance monitoring mechanisms to enhance operational transparency. Additionally, it establishes clear protocols for interagency coordination, information sharing, and collaborative enforcement to minimize compliance burdens on employers while maximizing benefit delivery to workers. To ensure accountability, the governance structure includes provisions for parliamentary oversight, judicial review, and stakeholder consultation. The code explicitly empowers beneficiaries with access to information, standardized grievance resolution timelines, and appellate mechanisms across all Social Security programs. This comprehensive governance architecture represents a significant advancement in India's labor welfare administration, creating an integrated ecosystem that balances administrative efficiency with worker-centric service delivery. Employee Provident Fund provisions. The EPF system establishes a mandatory retirement savings framework through employer-employee contributions, managed by the Central Board, with robust legal protections and enhanced benefits for vulnerable populations. Key components of EPF system. Registration. Employers must register both businesses and employees through the Shram Suvidha portal using Aadhaar-based verification. Registration is mandatory for establishments with 20 or more employees. Digital documentation streamlines the onboarding process and reduces the compliance burden. Contribution. Employers and employees contribute mandatory percentages of wages to build retirement savings. The standard contribution rate is 12% of basic wages. From both employer and employee contributions are tax exempt up to specified limits under income tax provisions. Small establishments with less than 20 employees may qualify for reduced contribution rates. Fund investment. The Central Board manages investments according to guidelines established by the central government. The portfolio includes government securities, debt instruments, and equity-linked investments. A risk-adjusted investment strategy aims to maximize returns while ensuring capital protection. Annual interest rates are declared based on fund performance and economic conditions. Benefit payout. Members access benefits upon retirement, disability, or during specific qualifying life events. Complete withdrawal is permitted upon retirement at age 58 or cessation of employment. Partial withdrawals allowed for housing, education, medical treatment, and marriage expenses. The pension scheme component provides lifetime monthly income after retirement. The Employees Provident Fund is a cornerstone of formal sector workers' financial security. The dual contribution system creates sustainable retirement savings, while the Central Board's prudent fund management ensures long-term economic viability. The EPF system incorporates inflation protection mechanisms and provides tax advantages that enhance the effective return on investments. Using Form I, workers have recourse to appeal PF authority decisions through the Central Government Industrial Tribunal. The time frame for filing appeals is limited to 60 days from the date of notification, with a provision for condoning delays in exceptional circumstances. The code prohibits any court decree's explicit attachment of provident funds, safeguarding workers' retirement security against personal liabilities or creditor claims. Additionally, the government is committed to inclusivity by covering employer contributions for persons with disabilities for up to 3 years. This provision reduces hiring barriers and promotes workforce participation among differently abled individuals. The code also introduces special provisions for informal and gig economy workers, extending Social Security coverage to previously excluded workforce segments through voluntary contribution mechanisms and matching government subsidies. The administrative framework includes robust grievance redressal mechanisms, including an online portal for claim submissions and complaint resolution. Technological integration enables real-time contribution tracking, automated compliance verification, and seamless interstate transfers when workers change employment locations. These digital innovations significantly reduce processing times and enhance transparency in fund management operations. The Employee State Insurance Scheme provides comprehensive Social Security benefits through joint contributions from employers and employees. It offers healthcare services, financial support during illness, maternity care, and compensation for work-related injuries or disabilities. Employee State Insurance Scheme key benefits: medical benefit, comprehensive health care services for injured workers and their families, outpatient consultations and treatment, inpatient hospitalization and care, diagnostic tests and prescribed medications, specialized therapies, including cardiac care and oncology, access to ESI hospitals, dispensaries, and impaneled private facilities. Sickness benefit, financial support during periods of certified illness, 70% of average daily wages payable for up to 91 consecutive days. Extended sickness benefit for specified long-term ailments, up to 2 years. Enhanced benefit rate of 80% for 31 specified long-term diseases. Maternity benefit, financial assistance during pregnancy and postnatal period, 26 weeks of paid leave for natural delivery, 12 weeks for adoptive mothers and commissioning mothers and surrogacy, additional 1 month leave for illness arising from pregnancy, confinement, or premature birth, provision for confinement expenses and postnatal care allowances. Disablement benefit, compensation for work-related injuries and occupational diseases, 90% of wages for temporary or permanent disability. Dependent benefits for surviving family members in case of work-related fatality, lifelong monthly payments in case of permanent disablement. Rehabilitation allowances for vocational retraining, if needed. The Employee State Insurance Scheme covers workers earning within prescribed wage limits in the organized sector. The funding model requires employers to contribute 3% and employees' percent of wages to the insurance fund. This pooled resource finances the comprehensive healthcare services and monetary benefits during contingencies. The code provisions allow for flexible healthcare delivery models, including specialized employee state insurance societies established by state governments. These societies feature multi-stakeholder representation to ensure quality healthcare delivery. The scheme extends medical benefits to family members, including dependent parents with monthly income below 9,000 rupees, enhancing the Social Security safety net. The ESIC, Employee State Insurance Corporation, administers the scheme through a tripartite governance structure with representatives from the government, employers, and employees. The organization operates through a network of regional and sub-regional offices, alongside an extensive healthcare infrastructure comprising hospitals, dispensaries, and diagnostic centers nationwide. Registration under the ESI scheme is mandatory for all establishments employing 10 or more workers with wages within the specified ceiling. Employers must register their establishment within 15 days of the act becoming applicable and register each employee within 10 days of employment. The unique Social Security number issued to each insured person facilitates seamless access to benefits through a digital platform. Insured persons can file claims and track their benefits through the ESIC portal using their insurance number. Medical benefits continue during unemployment for up to 2 years for those who have paid contributions for at least 2 years. The scheme also provides unemployment allowance under the Rajiv Gandhi Shramik Kalyan Yojana for workers who lose their jobs due to retrenchment or closure of factories. Gratuity provisions. Gratuity is a retirement benefit awarded after 5 years of continuous service or immediately upon death, disability. It amounts to 15 days' wages for each completed year of service. The comprehensive process involves eligibility verification, formal application, payment calculation, and effective dispute resolution mechanisms to ensure fair compensation. Gratuity process eligibility determination. Employees become eligible after 5 years of continuous service while death or disability cases qualify regardless of tenure. Contract workers are entitled to gratuity after completing just 1 year of service. The calculation of continuous service includes periods of authorized leave, maternity leave, and layoffs, ensuring comprehensive coverage across various employment scenarios. 1. Application process. The worker or their nominee must submit Form IV within 30 days of eligibility. Employers must respond with Form V within 15 days, indicating the calculated amount payable. Supporting documentation requirements include service records, wage calculation details, and identity verification. Incomplete applications may be returned for correction within a specified timeframe without prejudice to the applicant. 2. Dispute resolution. In case of disagreement, employees may petition the appropriate authority using Form 6. The authority will notify all parties, conduct a formal hearing, and issue a binding decision. Appeals must be filed within 60 days of the judgment. The Code establishes a structured timeline for hearings, evidence submission, and final determination to expedite resolution. Employees may represent themselves or appoint authorized representatives during proceedings. 3. Payment enforcement. Employees can file Form 9 for recovery if an employer fails to disburse the ordered amount. The outstanding sum will be collected like land revenue arrears with an additional 10% annual interest penalty. The employer may face further financial sanctions for willful noncompliance. The Code empowers the controlling authority to issue attachment orders against employer assets in deliberate avoidance or non-payment cases. 4. Gratuity calculation method. The standard formula calculates gratuity as 15x last drawn salary x number of completed years, %26. For monthly rated employees, wages for calculation purposes include basic salary plus dearness allowance. The maximum gratuity amount payable is capped at 120 lakhs, though employers may offer more generous terms through contractual agreements. 5. Gratuity is a crucial retirement benefit awarded to workers after the prescribed service period is fulfilled. The Code calculates this benefit at 15 days' wages for each completed year of service, based on the employee's most recent wage rate. The calculation adjusts to 7 days' wages per season work for seasonal workers. The gratuity amount is exempt from attachment in the execution of any decree or order of any civil, revenue, or criminal court, providing essential financial security to workers in their post-employment phase. The Code mandates that workers designate a nominee to receive their gratuity in the event of death, filing this nomination formally through Form 3. Without a valid nomination, the benefit transfers to legal heirs according to succession laws. For minor nominees, the gratuity amount must be secured in term deposits with nationalized banks until they reach adulthood. Workers may update their nominations periodically to reflect changes in family circumstances, with the most recent valid nomination superseding all previous designations. Employers must maintain comprehensive gratuity records for each employee, including service history, wage progression, and nomination details. The Code imposes penalties for falsification or non-maintenance of mandatory records. Many employers now establish gratuity funds with approved insurance companies or trustees to ensure sufficient reserves for meeting gratuity obligations. These funds must be maintained separately from the employer's general assets and are protected from creditor claims in case of company insolvency. Maternity benefits provide 26 weeks of paid leave to eligible women workers, varying duration based on specific circumstances. These comprehensive benefits include employment protection, nursing breaks, and child care facilities, ensuring complete support throughout pregnancy and postpartum. Maternity benefit provisions. Eligibility requirements. To qualify for maternity benefits, a woman must have completed at least 70 working days within the 12 months preceding her expected delivery date. This includes regular, contractual, and part-time women employees across organized and unorganized sectors. 1. Leave duration. 26 weeks of paid leave for women with fewer than 2 surviving children, 12 weeks for women with 2 or more surviving children, adoptive mothers, and commissioning mothers. This leave can be taken up to 8 weeks before the expected delivery date. 2. Compensation. Full average daily wage for the entire leave period. Additional medical bonus of 7,500 rupees if the employer does not provide prenatal or postnatal care services. The calculation is based on the average of the woman's wages payable to her for the 3 months preceding her maternity leave. 3. Employment protection. Employers are prohibited from terminating women during maternity leave and cannot alter employment terms disadvantageously. This protection extends from the date of pregnancy notification until the woman returns to work after her leave period. 4. Exceptional circumstances. Additional provisions exist for specific situations: miscarriage or medical termination. 6 weeks of paid leave from the date of miscarriage tubectomy operation. 2 weeks of paid leave following the procedure. Illness arising from pregnancy. Additional paid leave of up to 1 month with proper medical certification. Premature delivery. the unused portion of prenatal leave can be added to the post-natal leave period work-from-home option. Employers may permit women to work from home after the maternity leave if the nature of work allows such an arrangement. Terms and conditions must be mutually agreed upon between employer and employee. 6. Documentation and implementation requirements. The maternity benefit framework ensures comprehensive protection for women workers throughout their maternal journey. Women receive paid leave before and after childbirth, with specific provisions for circumstances such as miscarriage, medical termination of pregnancy, tubectomy procedures, and pregnancy-related illnesses. Employers must maintain records of women employees in Form 22 and provide appropriate documentation upon request. To access benefits, women must submit a notification of expected delivery in Forms I. Additional entitlements include nursing breaks, 15 minutes each, twice daily, until the child reaches 15 months of age, and mandatory child care facilities in workplaces employing 50 or more women. Compliance and penalties. Non-compliance with maternity benefit provisions can result in significant penalties for employers. The law prescribes imprisonment for up to 3 months, fines up to 5,000 rupees, or both for employers who fail to provide maternity benefits as stipulated. Additionally, obstructing inspectors or failing to produce relevant documents can result in imprisonment for up to 1 year, fines, or both. The central and state governments monitor implementation through appointed inspectors who conduct regular audits. These officials can examine premises, review records, and interview employees to ensure compliance with all maternity benefit provisions.
Building and Construction Workers Welfare. A comprehensive welfare system for construction workers, funded by a 2% cess on construction costs. The program features Aadhaar-linked portable registration and welfare schemes covering education, healthcare, pensions, and accident assistance. Cess collection mechanism. A cess of up to 2% on construction cost funds welfare initiatives. Employers must calculate the cess before commencing projects and submit completion reports. Designated officers verify and ensure accurate collection of the cess. Local authorities can assess and recover unpaid cess amounts with interest penalties. Appeals against cess assessments can be filed within 60 days of receiving the order. Worker registration process. Workers engaged in building or construction for 90+ days annually are eligible for registration. Aadhaar-based registration enables the portability of benefits across all states. Special registration camps are conducted in high-density worker areas to facilitate enrollment. Registration requires proof of age, address verification, and bank account details. Workers receive a digital beneficiary card that serves as proof of registration. Annual renewal maintains active status in the welfare database. Welfare schemes. Educational assistance includes scholarships for workers' children, skill development programs, and vocational training opportunities. Healthcare benefits cover major illnesses, hospitalization expenses, and regular health checkups. Financial security through pension schemes, retirement benefits, and disability compensation. Accident and disability coverage provides immediate financial assistance and rehabilitation support. Maternity benefits for female construction workers include paid leave and medical reimbursements. Housing assistance through subsidized loans and temporary accommodation facilities at major construction sites. The Building and Construction Workers Welfare System establishes a dedicated fund through construction cess to finance worker benefits. This cess is calculated based on construction costs, either self-reported by employers with professional certification or determined by government-prescribed rates. The streamlined, Aadhaar-linked registration system enables construction workers to access benefits seamlessly across state boundaries, crucial for this highly mobile workforce. The comprehensive welfare schemes address multiple dimensions of worker security, including education, healthcare, retirement, and emergency assistance, providing vital social protection for this vulnerable occupational group. Implementation occurs through state welfare boards that operate under central guidelines while adapting to local needs. Regular monitoring and evaluation ensure efficient fund utilization and maximum worker coverage. Employers failing to comply with cess payment requirements face penalties, including fines and potential prosecution. The system represents a significant step toward formalizing protections for workers in India's substantial informal construction sector. Unorganized workers, gig workers, and platform workers. The code establishes comprehensive social security coverage for unorganized, gig, and platform workers through streamlined registration processes, digital identification, dedicated funding mechanisms, and specialized oversight bodies. Key framework components: streamlined registration, integrated single-window registration system on a centralized portal with Aadhaar verification for all unorganized sector workers, digital identification. Workers receive portable digital ID cards enabling access to benefits throughout the country. Dedicated funding. Welfare schemes are financed through mandatory contributions of 1 to 2% of annual revenue from digital platforms and applications. Governance structure. A tripartite national board consisting of worker representatives, employers, and government officials designs and implements welfare schemes. Implementation details registration procedure. Workers can self-register through the portal or utilize facilitation centers at labor offices, CSCs, and worker facilitation centers. Benefit categories. Schemes cover life and disability insurance, health and maternity benefits, old age protection, education assistance, housing support, and skill upgradation. Fund management. Contributions are managed through a transparent, audited system with direct benefit transfers to workers' accounts. Monitoring mechanism. Regular impact assessment studies evaluate scheme effectiveness and guide policy adjustments. The code introduces groundbreaking protections for unorganized, gig, and platform workers, addressing the evolving nature of modern employment relationships. The Unified Registration Framework facilitates identification and benefit delivery to workers outside traditional employment structures. For gig and platform workers, ride-sharing drivers, or delivery personnel, digital aggregators must contribute 1 to 2% of their annual revenue to a specialized Social Security fund. These companies are required to submit provisional contribution estimates by June 30th and finalized reports by October 31st annually. A representative National Social Security Board comprising all key stakeholders develops and oversees welfare schemes tailored to these emerging workforce categories. The Worker Identification and Registration System operates through a 3-tier verification process: basic demographic information, occupation details, and bank account linking for direct benefit transfers. This ensures accurate targeting of benefits while preventing duplication or leakage. Worker data is protected through stringent privacy protocols that are compliant with personal data protection regulations. State governments are empowered to establish supplementary schemes addressing region-specific needs of unorganized workers, with matching central funding available for approved initiatives. This multi-level approach ensures national standardization and local customization of Social Security provisions, creating a robust safety net for workers in non-traditional employment arrangements. Enforcement, assessment, and compliance. A comprehensive framework that integrates inspection, assessment, and penalties to ensure regulatory adherence, while simultaneously supporting businesses in meeting legal requirements. Key components. Inspection system. Authorized officials conduct workplace inspections to verify compliance with statutory provisions, operating under clearly defined jurisdictions and mandates. Assessment process. Designated officers evaluate submitted documents and reports to determine proper dues and obligations, ensuring accurate calculation of benefits and contributions. Dispute resolution. Specialized authorities resolve disagreements through structured, transparent procedures with defined timelines for quick resolution. Handling violations. First-time infractions may be addressed through compounding fees rather than prosecution, promoting remedial compliance. Compliance assistance. Officials provide educational resources and technical guidance to help employers understand and meet their obligations. Web-based monitoring. Digital platforms facilitate real-time tracking of compliance status and outstanding requirements. The code establishes a dual-purpose system where officials function as enforcement officers and compliance facilitators. They inspect workplaces and documentation while guiding to help businesses navigate regulatory requirements. This balanced approach promotes understanding and adherence to legal obligations. The inspection process follows a risk-based framework, prioritizing establishments with historical compliance issues or those in high-risk sectors. Inspectors must provide formal notice before routine inspections, except in cases of reported violations or emergencies. All inspection findings must be documented in standardized formats and shared with the employer within 48 hours. To streamline enforcement, the code allows first-time violations to be resolved by paying a specified compounding amount using Form 24. No further legal proceedings will be initiated for that particular violation upon payment. However, for serious contraventions or repeat offenses, the code prescribes more stringent penalties, including imprisonment, to effectively deter non-compliance and ensure worker protections remain robust. The assessment mechanism incorporates both self-reporting and independent verification. Employers submit periodic compliance reports through the unified portal, which are cross-verified against worker registrations and contribution records. Discrepancies trigger automated alerts to employers and enforcement authorities, creating opportunities for prompt correction. For effective implementation, the code mandates the creation of a national database of compliance records accessible to all stakeholders. This transparency encourages voluntary compliance, while enabling authorities to focus enforcement resources on persistent violators. The system also facilitates recognition programs for consistently compliant organizations, creating positive incentives, alongside deterrent penalties. Employment information and monitoring. The code establishes a comprehensive system for tracking employment data through job centers, mandatory vacancy reporting, and annual workforce reports, for creating a foundation for evidence-based labor policies and ensuring transparency in the labor market. Key components of the employment information system: job centers, government-authorized facilities providing career guidance, job matching services, skills assessment, and employment facilitation. These centers serve as crucial intermediaries between job seekers and employers. 1. Vacancy reporting. Mandatory reporting of job openings by public sector entities and private organizations with 50+ employees for designated positions, ensuring transparency and equal opportunity in the job market. 2. Annual documentation. Employers must submit yearly employment information reports, Form 26, detailing current workforce composition and projected hiring needs. These reports include demographic data, skill distributions, and anticipated growth areas. 3. Labor market intelligence. Systematic collection and analysis of employment data to inform policy development and targeted interventions. This intelligence helps identify skill gaps, emerging trends, and areas requiring policy attention. 4. Career counseling services. Professional guidance offered through job centers to help individuals make informed career choices based on their skills, interests, and market demands. 5. Compliance requirements. Public sector employers must register all vacancies with job centers before proceeding with recruitment. Private companies with 50+ employees must report specified position openings to appropriate job centers. Technical and scientific positions with salaries exceeding specified thresholds must be reported to the central job center at least 40 days before application deadlines. Employers must maintain detailed records of all hiring processes for a minimum of 3 years. For potential inspection non-compliance may result in monetary penalties as specified in Schedule E of the Code. The system facilitates optimal matching between qualified candidates and available positions. Aggregated employment data informs the development of responsive and effective labor market policies. Benefits of the employment information system. For job seekers, enhanced access to employment opportunities, career guidance, and skill development resources. For employers, wider talent pool, reduced recruitment costs, and support for meeting diversity objectives. For policymakers, real-time labor market data enabling evidence-based policy formulation and program design. For the economy, improved labor market efficiency, reduced structural unemployment, and better alignment between skills and industry needs. Implementing this comprehensive employment information system represents a significant step toward creating a more transparent, efficient, and inclusive labor market that benefits all stakeholders, while supporting broader economic development objectives. Code on Social Security 2020, Central Rules and Regulations. A landmark labor law reform that consolidates multiple legislations, extends benefits to all workers, including the unorganized sector, and establishes comprehensive implementation frameworks for a modern social security system in India. The Code on Social Security 2020 marks a transformative reform in India's labor laws, unifying 9 existing legislations, including the Employees Provident Funds Act, Employees State Insurance Act, Maternity Benefit Act, and Payment of Gratuity Act, into a comprehensive framework. This progressive code extends social security benefits to all workers, particularly addressing the unorganized sector. Gig and platform workers represent over 90% of India's workforce, yet were previously excluded from formal social protection systems. The central rules provide precise implementation guidelines across various social security components, including provident funds, employee state insurance, gratuity, and maternity benefits, and they establish streamlined procedures for registration, contribution collection, and benefit distribution. These regulations establish robust administrative structures, transparent contribution mechanisms, and efficient benefit delivery systems. These include forming national and state-level social security boards with balanced representation from workers, employers, and government officials. The code introduces expanded definitions of employee and establishment to ensure broader coverage, creating universal social security through a rights-based approach rather than the previous employment relationship model. Implementation leverages digital technology, including a centralized national database for unorganized workers, and cross-state benefit portability, significantly enhancing accessibility while reducing administrative barriers. The code balances simplified compliance procedures for employers with strengthened penalties for violations, fostering voluntary compliance and effective enforcement within the Social Security ecosystem. Preliminary provisions and definitions. The preliminary provisions establish the geographical scope, implementation timeline, key terminology, and administrative structures essential for consistently applying the Social Security Code throughout India. Key elements of preliminary provisions: scope and extent. The rules apply to the entire territory of India and take effect after publication in the Official Gazette, coinciding with the commencement of the code. This nationwide application ensures uniform Social Security implementation across all states and union territories. Implementation timeline. A strategically phased implementation allows various provisions to become effective based on stakeholder readiness at different times, enabling a smooth transition from previous systems to the consolidated framework. Key definitions. The rules precisely define critical terms, including agency, appeal, appellate authority, assessing officer authority, average daily wages, and benefit period. These clear definitions prevent ambiguity and ensure consistent interpretation during implementation and dispute resolution. Career centers. The establishment of Career Center Central and Career Center Regional with defined jurisdictions facilitates employment information exchange and market monitoring. These centers serve as vital intermediaries connecting job seekers with employers while collecting essential labor market data. Administrative framework. A clearly defined hierarchical structure specifies the composition, powers, functions, and jurisdictional authority of implementing bodies, ensuring efficient governance and accountability. Registration requirements. Comprehensive registration guidelines for establishments, employers, and employees establish standardized procedures for documentation and compliance reporting, simplifying administrative processes. These foundational provisions create the bedrock for code implementation by establishing precise terminology, clear scope, and robust administrative structures. The detailed definitions ensure consistent interpretation, while jurisdictional provisions create a practical operational framework. This comprehensive groundwork eliminates fragmentation in Social Security delivery, creating a unified system that extends protection to all worker categories throughout India. Social Security organizations, structure, and functions. 3 key Social Security bodies: 4 Central Board of EPF, Employees State Insurance Corporation, and National Social Security Board. 4 form India's Social Security Administrative Framework, each with distinct roles, representation structures, and operational guidelines. Central Board (EPF) administers funds within guidelines issued by the central government, maintains accounts, and invests funds as specified. The Executive Committee assists the Central Board in performing its functions. The Central Board comprises a chairman appointed by the central government, a vice chairman, a Central Provident Fund Commissioner, ex officio, representatives from central and state governments, and members representing employers and employees. The board meets quarterly to review fund performance, policy implementation, and compliance matters. 1. Employees State Insurance Corporation includes representation from states, with specific procedures for election of members to the Standing Committee. The Medical Benefit Committee advises on health services and welfare measures for insured persons. ESIC is chaired by the Union Minister of Labor and Employment, with a Director General who oversees day-to-day operations. It maintains regional offices across states and union territories to ensure effective implementation of the ESI scheme, providing medical care and cash benefits to insured workers and their families. The corporation reviews and approves annual budgets, expansion plans, and service quality improvements. 2. National Social Security Board, established for unorganized workers, gig workers, and platform workers, with specific nomination procedures, term limits, and operational guidelines for discharging functions. The board includes representatives from unorganized sectors, experts in Social Security, and government officials. It recommends suitable schemes for different categories of workers, monitors implementation effectiveness, and advises on administrative improvements. The board conducts periodic reviews of existing schemes. It explores new welfare initiatives to address emerging needs in the changing labor market, particularly focusing on technological platforms and non-traditional employment arrangements. 3. General administrative provisions. Rules specify meeting procedures, quorum requirements, fee and allowance structures for members, and mechanisms for reconstitution of these bodies. Meetings require proper notice periods, with at least 1/3 of members constituting a valid quorum. Minutes must be recorded and circulated within specified timeframes. Decisions are made by majority vote, with the chairperson having a casting vote in case of ties. Extraordinary meetings can be convened with shorter notice for urgent matters. The rules also prescribe strict disclosure requirements for conflicts of interest and mechanisms for filling casual vacancies. 4. The rules establish a comprehensive administrative framework for the 3 leading Social Security organizations. Each organization has clearly defined composition, powers, functions, and operational procedures to ensure effective governance and implementation of Social Security schemes. This multi-tiered structure ensures representation from all stakeholders for government, employers, and workers for creating a balanced approach to Social Security administration, while addressing the unique needs of different worker categories across formal, informal, and emerging employment sectors. Employees Provident Fund Appeals and Procedures. The Provident Fund Dispute Resolution System features a structured appeal framework with mandatory deposit requirements, specific documentation standards, and time-bound resolution mechanisms through the Industrial Tribunal, ensuring efficient and fair settlement of grievances. Key aspects of the appeal process: filing of appeals against orders under sections 125 or 128 must be filed with the Industrial Tribunal within 60 days of receipt using Form I. However, the tribunal may grant extensions upon demonstration of sufficient cause. Employers must deposit 25% of the disputed amount before filing an appeal, which serves as security against frivolous appeals and ensures partial compliance with obligations. Appeals must include all relevant documents, certified copies of challenged orders, detailed grounds for appeal, and a clear statement of facts articulating the basis of the grievance. All appeal documentation requires verification by the appellant or authorized representative under penalty of perjury. Tribunal procedures. The rules establish clear protocols for scrutiny of appeals, determination of territorial jurisdiction for filing, service of notices via registered post, and scheduling hearings. Appeals must be resolved within 1 year from the filing date, with continuous day-to-day hearings wherever practicable to minimize unnecessary adjournments. The tribunal maintains comprehensive case registers, detailed order sheets, and appeal disposition records for transparency and administrative efficiency. Preliminary hearings may be conducted to frame issues, organize documentary evidence, and identify witnesses, streamlining the appeal process. Legal representation and orders. Appellants may represent themselves, engage authorized legal practitioners registered under the Advocates Act, or appoint representatives from registered trade unions. All tribunal orders must bear the presiding officer's signature, be pronounced in open court, and be communicated to parties via registered post within 15 days. The tribunal possesses expansive powers to issue directions, request additional evidence, conduct site inspections, and appoint commissioners to ensure comprehensive justice. Interested parties may obtain certified copies of tribunal orders by submitting applications and paying the fees prescribed in the rules. These rules establish a robust Provident Fund dispute resolution framework that balances expediency with procedural fairness. The detailed protocols for filing, hearing, and resolving appeals guide employers and employees seeking redress. Combining time-bound resolution mechanisms with comprehensive procedural safeguards effectively protects workers' Social Security rights, while ensuring employers have adequate opportunity to present their cases. This structured approach promotes transparency, consistency, and efficiency in the administration of Provident Fund justice.
Employee State Insurance Corporation Administration and Benefits. ESIC operates through a structured hierarchy that manages funds and delivers comprehensive Social Security benefits, including medical care, sickness support, maternity assistance, and disability compensation. The scheme features robust appeal mechanisms and serves as a financial safety net for employees during health crises and medical emergencies. Key elements of ESIC structure and functions: Director General and Financial Commissioner. The Director General serves as Chief Executive Officer, while the Financial Commissioner oversees accounts, budget preparation, and investment recommendations. Both receive compensation equivalent to central government officers, and are supported by regional directors and medical commissioners in a structured administrative framework. Fund management. The corporation invests funds according to central government guidelines, charging all expenses and losses to the ESI fund while crediting all returns. Separate accounting for administrative costs and benefit payments ensures financial transparency and accountability. Implementation network. Services are delivered through strategically located regional, subregional, and branch offices nationwide. Healthcare is provided via ESI hospitals, dispensaries, and impaneled private medical institutions, creating a comprehensive care ecosystem for beneficiaries. Coverage and contribution. The scheme encompasses employees earning below specified thresholds in establishments with 10+ workers. Funding comes from employer and employee contributions, with employers bearing a proportionately higher responsibility. Benefits portfolio. The scheme offers carefully structured benefits, including medical benefit, full-spectrum healthcare for insured persons and their families, unemployment allowance, financial support during involuntary job loss under the Rajiv Gandhi Shramik Kalyan Yojana, confinement expenses, monetary assistance for childbirth where ESI facilities are unavailable, funeral expenses, financial aid to dependents for performing last rites of deceased insured persons, appeals framework. Well-defined procedures govern appeals against medical board decisions to medical appeal tribunals and subsequent appeals to employees' insurance courts, with clear timelines and documentation requirements ensuring timely dispute resolution. Digital transformation. ESIC has implemented strategic technological initiatives, including online registration systems, electronic contribution payments, and digital claim submissions to enhance operational efficiency and transparency. The comprehensive regulatory framework ensures the effective administration of the employee state insurance scheme through clear organizational structure, financial management, and benefit delivery guidelines. These detailed provisions facilitate smooth implementation, while maintaining the scheme's financial sustainability through prudent oversight and responsible fund management. The ESIC structure balances service delivery excellence with fiscal responsibility, creating a robust social security system for India's workforce. Gratuity, nomination, and payment procedures. Gratuity regulations establish a structured framework covering employee nominations, claim submissions, payment protocols, and appeals processes to ensure prompt and transparent settlements. These comprehensive guidelines safeguard employer and employee interests, while providing essential financial security to workers after their service tenure. Key procedures. Nomination process. Employees must submit nominations in Form 3 within 90 days of joining or 30 days of completing 1 year of service. New nominations become necessary when an employee acquires a family. Nominations must specify distribution percentages among multiple beneficiaries, if applicable. Employers must acknowledge nominations and maintain these records throughout employment. Without valid nominations, gratuity becomes payable to legal heirs according to succession laws. Application for gratuity. Employees, nominees, or legal heirs must submit applications in Form IV within strict timeframes: 430 days from eligibility for employees and 1 year from death for nominees' heirs. Employers must respond with Form V within 15 days, either confirming the payable amount or providing justification for rejection. Gratuity calculations must be transparent, based on the last drawn wages and completed service years. Applications typically require supporting documentation, including service records, identity verification, and relationship proof. Payment mechanism. Gratuity must be disbursed via demand draft or direct bank transfer within 30 days from eligibility. For minor beneficiaries, payments may go to legal guardians or into protected accounts until they reach adulthood. The competent authority can mandate payment when employers fail to respond or reject claims without valid grounds. Delayed payments incur interest penalties at government-specified rates. Appeals and recovery. Parties must file appeals against authority decisions within 60 days with designated appellate bodies. When employers default on payments, beneficiaries can initiate recovery proceedings under Section 129 of the Code, treating gratuity amounts as arrears of land revenue or public demand. Employers deliberately evading gratuity obligations may face severe penalties, including imprisonment as specified in the Code. Parties may also utilize alternative dispute resolution channels before pursuing formal legal action. These regulations establish meticulous gratuity administration procedures, ensuring transparency and timely settlements. The robust appeals and recovery mechanism safeguard against payment defaults or delays. This comprehensive framework underscores gratuity's significance as a vital social security component for employees concluding extended organizational service. The structured approach effectively balances administrative efficiency with procedural fairness, while protecting the financial interests of employees and their families during career transitions, retirement, or unfortunate circumstances. Maternity benefit. Entitlements and procedures. Comprehensive maternity benefit regulations provide vital support for working women through streamlined documentation requirements, efficient payment mechanisms, nursing accommodations, and robust grievance systems designed to safeguard maternal health and workplace equity. Proof requirements. Verification of pregnancy, childbirth, miscarriage, medical termination, tubectomy, or related illness requires Form X certification from authorized medical practitioners. These certificates must contain essential medical details submitted within specified timeframes. Employers must accept documentation from any registered healthcare facility to facilitate timely benefit processing. Payment procedures. Women submit Form XI notices to claim benefits, which employers must disperse within 48 hours of receiving valid certification. Payments occur into installments for pre-delivery and post-delivery periods. A medical bonus is included in the second payment. All disbursements must be transferred directly to the beneficiary's bank account or via demand draft, ensuring financial security during this critical period. Nursing breaks. Mothers are entitled to 2 15-minute nursing breaks daily until their child reaches 15 months, plus reasonable travel time to and from the creche. These breaks count as paid working hours. Employers must provide hygienic, suitable nursing facilities within or near workplace premises and maintain proper documentation of these accommodations. Complaints and appeals. Women may file Form 12 complaints with inspector cum facilitators regarding withheld or delayed benefits. Inspectors must investigate within 7 days and issue prompt determinations. Dissatisfied parties can appeal to the competent authority via Form 13 within 30 days of receiving decisions. Appeals must receive hearings within 90 days, culminating in reasoned judgments. Dismissal protection regulations prohibit termination of employment during maternity leave periods. Any adverse action during pregnancy or maternity leave is presumptively considered retaliatory, shifting the burden of proof to employers to demonstrate legitimate, non-discriminatory grounds for such decisions. Record maintenance. Employers must preserve comprehensive records of all maternity benefit payments, nursing break usage, and related documentation for a minimum 5-year period. These records must remain accessible for authorized officials to verify compliance with statutory requirements. These regulations establish comprehensive protections for maternity benefits, ensuring working women receive appropriate support throughout pregnancy, childbirth, and nursing. The structured documentation, payment, and grievance resolution procedures effectively safeguard women's entitlements while promoting maternal and infant well-being. Successful implementation requires collaborative engagement between employers, healthcare providers, and regulatory authorities to create supportive workplace environments. These provisions align with international maternal protection standards while recognizing women's dual contributions as workers and mothers, enabling continued economic independence and career advancement during this significant transition. Building and construction workers' welfare. A robust framework ensuring construction worker welfare through streamlined cess collection, seamless electronic registration, and transparent benefit delivery with accessible appeals processes for comprehensive Social Security coverage. Cess collection. Employers must self-assess and remit cess at 1% of total construction cost excluding land value within 30 days of project commencement through the designated electronic system, ensuring timely funding for worker welfare initiatives. Assessment process. Assessing officers review documentation and issue orders within 6 months of construction completion. They may inspect records, verify costs, and recalculate costs when discrepancies arise. Employers must maintain comprehensive records of worker employment and project expenditures for verification. Worker registration. Aadhaar-linked electronic registration facilitates efficient database management and benefit delivery. Workers provide personal details, employment history, banking information, and skill certifications. Registration remains valid for 3 years with renewal options. Alternative identification methods accommodate workers without an Aadhaar. Appeals mechanism. Employers may challenge assessments within 90 days by filing documented appeals to the appellate authority, which must resolve cases within 60 days after providing fair hearings to all parties. Further recourse to higher authorities is available for those dissatisfied with initial decisions. Welfare benefits. Registered workers access comprehensive benefits, including health insurance, educational scholarships for children, maternity support, pension schemes, disability assistance, and skill development programs. Direct benefit transfers ensure transparent and expedited disbursements. Interstate portability. Migrant workers maintain benefit access through a national portability framework that preserves registration and contribution history across state boundaries, ensuring uninterrupted Social Security coverage regardless of geographic mobility. Monitoring and transparency. Real-time digital dashboards track cess collection, utilization, and benefit disbursement. Independent agencies conduct annual audits with publicly available reports, ensuring accountable and transparent fund management. These rules establish a comprehensive welfare system for building and construction workers that harmonizes cess collection, assessment procedures, worker registration, and benefit delivery. Employers submit detailed construction information, calculate cess based on project costs, and make advance payments to support the welfare ecosystem. The Aadhaar integrated electronic registration creates a reliable identification system that streamlines benefit delivery to eligible workers while robust appeals mechanisms protect against assessment errors. The portability framework ensures migrant workers receive continuous coverage across state lines, addressing a critical gap in traditional welfare systems. Implementation leverages advanced technological infrastructure, including mobile registration applications, automated SMS notifications for benefit updates, and multilingual helplines for worker support. Regular consultations with workers, employers, and government representatives facilitate continuous system improvement and address emerging sector challenges. Beyond immediate welfare support, the framework incorporates skill certification, recognition of prior learning, and career advancement pathways within the construction industry. This integrated approach simultaneously addresses immediate social security needs while building a more skilled, secure, and productive construction workforce for the future. Unorganized workers, gig workers, and platform workers. The rules establish a comprehensive social security framework for previously excluded workers through streamlined digital registration, structured aggregator contributions, and a dedicated welfare fund, addressing a critical protection gap in India's evolving labor landscape. Registration process: unorganized, gig, and platform workers register via Aadhaar authenticated self-declaration on the designated portal, ensuring secure verification while minimizing bureaucratic barriers. The system generates a unique registration number as a portable digital identity across employment changes and geographical locations, facilitating continuous benefit access. Workers must periodically update their employment status, location, and personal details to maintain scheme eligibility. Workers with limited digital literacy receive support through dedicated help desks and facilitation centers at local administrative offices. Strict privacy protocols protect registration data, with significant penalties for unauthorized access or misuse of worker information. Contribution mechanism: aggregators must calculate and remit contributions based on annual turnover or worker liability, with sector-specific percentage slabs determining payment amounts. The payment schedule requires provisional contributions by June 30th and annual final returns by October 31st, with interest penalties for delayed remittances. A streamlined digital process with verification safeguards facilitates refunds of excess payments when applicable. The framework implements progressive contribution rates, ensuring larger platforms contribute proportionally more while shielding emerging businesses. Regular compliance audits verify accurate reporting of worker engagements and contribution calculations. Social Security Fund: a dedicated fund manages aggregator contributions to finance welfare schemes, maintaining separate accounts for distinct worker categories. A central government-designated agency administers the fund with advisory input from worker representatives and industry stakeholders. The Comptroller and Auditor General conduct regular audits, with quarterly performance reports published for transparency. Strategic investment guidelines balance financial sustainability with optimized returns for enhanced benefits. Evidence-based allocation formulas direct resources across welfare schemes according to demographic profiles and sector-specific risk assessments. Benefit distribution and accessibility: direct benefit transfer systems ensure efficient, transparent delivery of financial assistance to eligible workers. A dedicated mobile application gives workers real-time access to their benefit status, contribution history, and scheme details. Comprehensive grievance resolution channels include a dedicated helpline, an online portal, and district-level facilitation centers. Regular effectiveness assessments measure scheme performance and worker satisfaction to guide continuous improvement. These rules create a framework extending essential social security protections to previously vulnerable worker categories. The Aadhaar authenticated registration system ensures accurate identification and benefit targeting, while the structured aggregator contribution mechanism establishes sustainable funding for welfare programs. This approach addresses the precarity millions face in India's expanding informal, gig, and platform economy. The Social Security Fund provides critical financial infrastructure for implementing health insurance, accident coverage, maternity benefits, old age protection, and educational allowances for workers' children. By integrating these workers into formal social protection systems, the rules represent a significant advancement in labor welfare adapted to contemporary employment patterns. Successful implementation requires addressing challenges, including last-mile registration access, technology barriers among vulnerable populations, and enforcement across diverse platform ecosystems. A collaborative approach involving worker organizations, industry stakeholders, and civil society will be essential to achieve comprehensive coverage and deliver meaningful benefits in this transforming employment landscape. Compliance, monitoring, and enforcement mechanisms. The Code establishes comprehensive compliance systems through robust record-keeping requirements, an integrated employment information system, and administrative violation resolution processes, creating a balanced framework that ensures adherence while maintaining necessary flexibility. Record-keeping requirements: employers must maintain registers of women employees, Form 22, and submit unified annual returns, Form 23. These records must document working hours, wages, leaves granted, and employment conditions. The code mandates regular updates, imposes penalties for non-compliance or falsification, and offers digital maintenance options to streamline processes for technologically equipped employers. Violation resolution. The code provides mechanisms for resolving violations without prosecution by compounding offenses with prescribed procedures and forms. The process includes structured steps for application filing, Form 37, compounding fee payment, and certification. Graduated penalties based on violation severity and recurrence ensure proportionate responses while maintaining effective deterrence. Employment Information System. The code requires employers to report vacancies to career centers and submit annual returns, Form 26, detailing occupation categories, skill requirements, and employment conditions. Special provisions cover establishments employing migrant or contract workers. The system operates through an integrated digital platform, facilitating streamlined reporting and comprehensive data analytics. Matching function. This system connects job seekers with suitable employment opportunities while generating vital labor market intelligence. It integrates skill mapping, career guidance, and vocational counseling to enhance employment outcomes. The collected data supports evidence-based policy development and targeted interventions for underserved workforce segments, while regular analysis identifies emerging skill gaps to inform education priorities. Flexibility provisions. Exemption provisions accommodate establishments offering substantially similar or superior benefits, subject to specific conditions and review. Exemption applications require prescribed formats, with detailed justification and documentation. These exemptions have limited duration and undergo regular monitoring to ensure continued compliance with the code's fundamental principles, with provisions for revocation if conditions are violated. Enforcement structure. The code implements a tiered enforcement mechanism with clearly defined authority roles and responsibilities, including labor commissioners, inspectors, facilitators, and specialized officers. The enforcement philosophy balances prevention and correction through advisory services and capacity building, complemented by stringent measures for deliberate or repeated violations. Grievance redressal. A multi-tiered system enables workers to raise complaints through internal committees, conciliation officers, and appellate authorities. This structure ensures accessible justice with specific resolution timeframes at each level. Integrated alternative dispute resolution mechanisms expedite settlements and reduce litigation burdens. Balanced framework. These integrated compliance and monitoring mechanisms create a cohesive system promoting code adherence, while facilitating administrative resolution of violations, rather than criminal prosecution. The framework acknowledges diverse employment relationships, providing appropriate flexibility while safeguarding worker rights and welfare. It represents a significant evolution in labor administration, transitioning from a purely punitive approach to a more facilitative, compliance-oriented system. Ministry of Labor and Employment Notification. The central government has published draft rules under the Code on Social Security, 2020. With a 45-day public feedback period beginning November 13, 2020. These comprehensive rules will consolidate and replace existing labor regulations as part of India's ambitious labor law reform initiative. On November 13, 2020, the Ministry of Labor and Employment published draft rules under the Code on Social Security, 2020. 36 of 2020. This marks a crucial milestone in implementing labor reforms designed to extend Social Security coverage to workers in both organized and unorganized sectors. These draft rules are available for public review, with the government accepting objections and suggestions for 45 days from the date official Gazette copies containing this notification become publicly available. All stakeholders, including employers, trade unions, and citizens, are invited to submit feedback to the Ministry of Labor and Employment Secretary. The draft framework details provisions for ESIC, EPF, gratuity, maternity benefits, and Social Security measures for unorganized workers. It establishes precise procedural requirements, standardized forms, and administrative structures necessary for effective code implementation. This notification will supersede and consolidate several existing regulations: Employee State Insurance, Central Rules, 1950, governing medical benefits and financial support during illness, maternity, and Workplace Injuries Tribunal, Procedure Rules 1997, establishing frameworks for labor dispute resolution. Employees Provident Funds Appellate Tribunal Rules, 1997, regulating EPF tribunal operations. Employment Exchanges Rules, 1960, mandating vacancy reporting to employment exchanges. Maternity Benefit, Mines and Circus Rules, 1963, providing specialized protections for women in specific industries. Payment of gratuity, Central Rules, 1972, establishing service-based retirement benefits. Cine Workers Welfare Fund Rules, 1984, Creating Support Systems for Film Industry Workers Building and Construction Workers Welfare CES Rules, 1998. Governing Construction Worker Welfare Fund Management Unorganized Workers Social Security Rules, 2009. Establishing informal sector protections. This consolidation represents a landmark reform of India's labor welfare architecture, aiming to universalize social security, particularly for previously excluded workers in the gig economy and platform-based employment. The government encourages all stakeholders to participate in this consultative process to ensure robust and inclusive implementation.
Preliminary provisions of the Code on Social Security, Central Rules, 2020, establishes the foundational framework governing social security provisions throughout India. These rules define the scope, terminology, and application criteria that form the legal basis for implementing comprehensive social security measures across all employment sectors. Short title and extent. Officially designated as the Code on Social Security, Central Rules, 2020, these regulations extend to the entire territory of India and take effect upon their final publication in the Official Gazette. They provide comprehensive coverage across both organized and unorganized employment sectors. Definitions. The rules contain precise definitions for essential terminology, including agency, appeal, appellate authority, assessing officer, authority, average daily wages, benefit period, career center, cess collector, and numerous other terms critical for consistent implementation. These standardized definitions ensure uniform interpretation and application across all jurisdictions. Application of provisions. The Central Provident Fund Commissioner or the Director General of the corporation may, under specified conditions, exempt certain establishments from Chapters 3 and IV of the Code. This strategic flexibility preserves the protective intent of the legislation while accommodating legitimate operational variations. Income thresholds. To determine dependent status under the Code, the monthly income limit for dependent parents, including in-laws of female employees, is established at 9,000 rupees. This threshold directly determines eligibility for various benefits and protections. Procedural requirements. Clear, standardized processes for documentation, form submission, and compliance procedures are established for both employers and employees, streamlining administrative functions while ensuring regulatory adherence. Administrative framework. The rules delineate the authorities responsible for implementation, specifying their powers, responsibilities, and jurisdictional boundaries to ensure adequate oversight and execution. Notably, the rules incorporate provisions for digital compliance and electronic record-keeping, reflecting modern administrative approaches. These preliminary provisions create a cohesive foundation that supports more specific regulations on provident funds, employee insurance, gratuity, maternity benefits, and other social security measures. This integrated approach ensures regulatory coherence and facilitates the consistent application of social security protections across India's diverse workforce. Registration and record-keeping requirements. The Code mandates electronic registration for employers, with specific requirements for certificate display, registration updates, and cancellation procedures. Registrations become void after 24 months of inactivity and may be revoked if obtained through misrepresentation. Registration and compliance process. Initial registration. Employers must register electronically via the Shram Suvidha portal by submitting comprehensive establishment details and uploading essential documentation, including business registration proof, tax identification numbers, and ownership information. Upon verification, registration certificates are issued electronically within 7 working days. New establishments must complete registration within 60 days of commencing operations. Updating registration. Employers with pre-existing registrations under previous labor laws must update their information on the Shram Suvidha portal within the time frame specified by the central government. Any changes to ownership, management structure, business nature, or establishment location require notification within 30 days of such modifications. Non-compliance with update requirements may trigger penalties, as Section 133 of the Code outlines. Display requirements. Registration certificates must be prominently displayed at a conspicuous location within the work premises. Certificates must be maintained in readable condition and remain accessible for inspection by authorized officials. Digital certificate copies should be secured as backups if physical certificates become damaged. Cancellation process. Establishments undergoing closure may apply for registration cancellation after providing comprehensive details and current status regarding all contributions and outstanding dues required under the Code. Cancellation applications must include documentation confirming the settlement of all employer-related liabilities. Before approving cancellation, the registering officer may conduct a premises inspection to verify compliance with all closure requirements. Record-keeping obligations. Employers must maintain detailed employee records encompassing designation, compensation, attendance patterns, and benefit entitlements. All records must be preserved for a minimum 5-year period from their creation date. Electronic record systems must incorporate robust backup mechanisms and security protocols to safeguard against unauthorized access and data compromise. Additionally, the rules stipulate that registrations will lapse automatically following 24 months of compliance inactivity, though reinstatement is possible upon application with sufficient justification for the inactive period. Registrations obtained through misrepresentation or false information may be revoked after allowing the establishment to present its case before the registering authority. Affected parties may file appeals against cancellation orders within a 30-day window to the designated appellate authority. Social security organizations. India's social security framework operates through 4 key organizational structures: the Central Board for EPF, the Employees State Insurance Corporation, National Social Security Boards for specialized worker categories, and standardized meeting procedures that govern all bodies. Key administrative bodies: Central Board. Employees Provident Fund administers funds, manages accounts, and invests according to government guidelines. The board comprises a chairperson, vice chairperson, and members representing employers, employees, and government. It establishes specialized committees and delegates powers as needed, with all investment expenses and losses charged to the funds. Employees State Insurance Corporation manages the Employees State Insurance Fund and oversees comprehensive benefits, including medical, disability, and maternity coverage. The rules define its structure, state representation, parliamentary member election, and standing committee constitution. The corporation operates nationwide through an extensive network of hospitals and medical service providers. National Social Security Board functions through 2 specialized bodies, one for unorganized workers and another for gig workers and platform workers. These boards recommend appropriate schemes, monitor implementation, advise the government on code administration, and extend Social Security to uncovered workers. Membership includes worker representatives, employers, and subject matter experts. Meeting procedures. Established protocols govern meeting frequency, minimum twice yearly for primary bodies, more frequently for committees. Notice periods: 15 days standard, shorter for emergencies. Documentation: minutes circulation within 15 days, and decision-making consensus-based with the chairs casting vote in ties. In the pay matrix, non-official trustees or members receive allowances equivalent to central government officers at level 12. These bodies collectively ensure nationwide implementation of the Social Security Code and protect worker interests across diverse sectors. Their coordinated efforts are vital for achieving comprehensive Social Security coverage for India's workforce. The governance framework includes mandatory monitoring and evaluation through annual reports detailing activities, achievements, and financial status, submitted to appropriate government authorities and available for public review. These reports ensure transparency and accountability in benefits administration. Employees Provident Fund provisions. The EPF provisions create a robust framework for fund management, dispute resolution, and legal processes, ensuring transparent administration and protecting stakeholder interests through clearly defined mechanisms and responsibilities. Key components: fund administration. The Central Board administers funds according to central government guidelines, depositing monies in approved banks or prescribed investments. The board maintains comprehensive income and expenditure accounts, with all expenses and investment losses charged to the funds, while all profits accrue to them. Appeal procedures. Appeals against Section 23 orders must be filed with the tribunal within 60 days, extendable by another 60 days, accompanied by prescribed fees and certified copies of the contested order. The tribunal may dismiss appeals deemed frivolous or lacking sufficient cause. Tribunal functioning. The tribunal operates with specific language requirements, procedures, fees, and timelines, hearing appeals daily to resolve cases within 1 year. It regulates its procedures, including scheduling and location of hearings. Its proceedings have judicial status, with powers equivalent to a civil court under the Code of Civil Procedure. Legal representation. Appellants may self-represent or engage legal practitioners. Central and state governments can authorize legal practitioners or officers to present cases. All representation requires formal authorization, and representatives must demonstrate thorough knowledge of case details. Record maintenance. Comprehensive documentation of all proceedings is mandatory, including evidence, orders, and judgments. All records require proper indexing and preservation for specified durations. Enforcement of orders. Tribunal orders carry the enforceability of civil court decrees. Non-compliance may trigger penalties under relevant code provisions. Additionally, the registrar of the tribunal serves crucial functions, including record custody, official seal maintenance, processing of appeal-related documents, appeal registration, and administrative support to the presiding officer. The registrar's responsibilities extend to certifying order copies, issuing notices, and compiling statistical data on tribunal operations to ensure transparency and efficiency in the administration of justice. Employees State Insurance Corporation. The ESIC functions under the leadership of a Director General and Financial Commissioner, administers funds according to government guidelines, delivers comprehensive benefits to insured persons, and maintains specific contribution rates of 3.25% from employers and 0.75% from employees. Administration and leadership. The central government appoints both the Director General and Financial Commissioner. These officers receive pay and allowances equivalent to central government officers in corresponding pay scales. The Director General serves as the Chief Executive Officer of the corporation. The Financial Commissioner oversees accounts management, budget preparation, internal audit coordination, investment recommendations, and additional assigned responsibilities. The corporation implements a three-tier administrative structure: corporate office, regional offices, and local offices. A diverse board governs the corporation, which includes representatives from employees, employers, state governments, medical professionals, and parliament. Additional directors, joint directors, and deputy directors support the Director General in implementing administrative functions. Fund management and benefits. All investments must adhere to central government guidelines. Investment expenses and losses are charged to the Employee State Insurance Fund, while all profits accrue to the fund. The corporation may allocate up to 1,000 crore rupees annually to promote health improvement measures, welfare initiatives, rehabilitation, and re-employment of insured persons. Specific regulations govern property acquisition, disposal, contract execution, and loan management. The ESI Fund provides medical care and cash benefits to insured persons and their dependents. Comprehensive benefits include medical care, sickness support, maternity assistance, disablement compensation, dependents benefits, and funeral expense coverage. A network of corporation-maintained hospitals, dispensaries, and clinics delivers medical benefits. A dedicated reserve fund ensures financial stability and covers unforeseen contingencies. Registration and contributions. Detailed employee registration procedures are established in the regulations. The contribution structure requires 3.25% from employers and 0.75% from employees. Regulations specify permissible administrative expenses. Qualification criteria and claim procedures are established for all benefit categories, including sickness, maternity, disablement, and dependents benefits. Each covered employee initially receives a temporary identification certificate, followed by a permanent identity card with a unique insurance number. Establishments must complete registration within 15 days of becoming subject to the Act. Contribution calculations are based on the total monthly wages paid. Employers must deduct employee contributions from wages and submit the combined amount to the corporation. Late payments incur interest and damages as specified in the regulations. Compliance and enforcement. Corporation-appointed inspectors monitor compliance with statutory provisions. Employers must maintain comprehensive wage and contribution records for inspection. Non-compliance penalties include imprisonment and monetary fines. Regular surveys identify establishments eligible for coverage. Designated authorities hear appeals from persons aggrieved by corporation decisions. Maternity benefit provisions. Comprehensive regulations ensuring workplace maternal support through certification requirements, payment protocols, nursing accommodations, and child care facilities, with clear implementation guidelines and compliance standards for employers. Medical certification. Pregnancy, delivery, miscarriage, medical termination, tubectomy, or related illness must be certified by qualified medical officers or registered practitioners. Certificates must include specific details, such as expected or actual delivery dates. Only practitioners registered with the appropriate medical council may issue these certificates. Payment process. Women must submit notice to employers using Form XI. Employers must disburse payments within 48 hours of receiving proper certification. The first installment, covering up to delivery, is paid in advance, while the second installment covers the remaining period and includes a medical bonus. All payments must be made directly to the employee or her written nominee. Leave entitlements. Eligible employees receive 26 weeks of paid maternity leave, maximum 8 weeks before delivery, while women with 2 or more surviving children receive 12 weeks. Miscarriage or medical termination entitles 6 weeks of leave from the date of occurrence. Tubectomy procedures warrant 2 weeks of leave immediately following the operation. Nursing accommodations. Post-delivery, women are entitled to 2 15-minute nursing breaks daily until the child reaches 15 months, plus travel time to and from the creche. These breaks supplement regular rest intervals and must not result in wage deductions. Child care facilities, establishments with 50 or more female employees must maintain a creche for children under 6 years old. These facilities must be well-lit, ventilated, clean, and supervised by trained child care professionals. The creche must be within 500 meters of the establishment entrance or on premises, operate during working hours, and provide washing facilities, changing areas, and complimentary refreshments for children. Remote work options. Following maternity leave, employers may permit work-from-home arrangements if the job nature allows. Duration and conditions must be mutually agreed upon between employer and employee. Additional beneficiaries. Commissioning mothers, in surrogacy arrangements, and adoptive mothers who legally adopt children under 3 months are entitled to 12 weeks of maternity benefits from the date the child is received. The regulations protect women from dismissal during maternity leave and establish complaint procedures for improperly withheld benefits. Employers must maintain comprehensive records of women employees, including appointment dates, benefit payment details, and dismissal information if applicable. Annual reports containing this data must be submitted to the appropriate authorities. Non-compliance may result in penalties under relevant labor laws. Building and construction workers' welfare, a robust welfare framework protecting construction workers through mandatory employer cess contributions, transparent fund administration, and an Aadhaar-based registration system that ensures timely benefit delivery to eligible workers. Key welfare system components. Cess assessment. Employers must proactively self-assess and remit cess payments based on construction costs certified by a chartered engineer. Assessments must be filed within 60 days of project commencement, with cess generally calculated at 1% of total construction costs, excluding land acquisition and compensation expenses. Collection and transfer. All collected cess must be electronically transferred to the State Building Workers Welfare Board within 30 days. The board conducts regular reconciliation with relevant authorities to ensure accuracy. Delayed transfers incur substantial penalties and compounding interest charges. Worker registration. State governments and welfare boards must register all eligible construction workers through the designated Aadhaar-linked portal. Registration eligibility requires at least 90 days of annual construction employment, with periodic renewal according to state-specific guidelines. The regulatory framework establishes comprehensive procedures for assessment appeals, non-compliance penalties, and overpayment refund protocols. Registered workers gain access to benefits administered by their jurisdictional board, with special provisions ensuring migrant workers receive benefits in their current work location. Worker benefits and implementation. Health and safety coverage. Registered workers receive comprehensive medical assistance, accident protection, and disability benefits. Work-related injuries qualify for compensation proportionate to injury severity and impact. Financial assistance programs. The Welfare Fund supports educational expenses, marriage assistance, housing loans, and retirement security. Workers can seamlessly apply through the digital portal using their registration credentials. Skill development. Boards actively facilitate skill enhancement programs and specialized training workshops to boost worker employability and income potential. These development opportunities are provided at no cost to registered workers. Implementation monitoring. Tripartite state-level committees comprising worker representatives, employer associations, and government officials oversee benefit disbursement and address implementation challenges through structured grievance resolution mechanisms. This welfare system directly addresses the inherent vulnerabilities in construction work stemming from its temporary nature and occupational hazards. Institutionalizing worker registration and establishing dedicated funding through cess collection creates a sustainable social security framework that protects millions in the unorganized construction sector throughout their careers and retirement years. Social Security for unorganized, gig, and platform workers. A robust framework establishing Aadhaar-based registration, proportional aggregator contributions, and a dedicated Social Security fund to deliver comprehensive benefits to workers in the informal economy. Key components. Registration process. Workers register via Aadhaar on a self-declaration basis through the designated portal, unlocking access to welfare schemes tailored for the informal sector. 1. Contribution system. Aggregators contribute based on either annual turnover or worker liability, creating sustainable financing for social protection. 2. Social Security Fund. purpose-built fund finances essential benefits including health insurance, accident coverage, and retirement protection. 3. Benefit delivery. Aadhaar-linked accounts enable direct benefit transfers to eligible workers, enhancing transparency and minimizing leakage. 4. Grievance resolution. Structured mechanisms address worker concerns regarding registration obstacles or benefit distribution challenges. 5. The framework establishes streamlined procedures for registering workers across all informal sectors. Eligible individuals must register through the designated portal using Aadhaar verification. For gig and platform workers specifically, aggregators must provide monthly worker information to facilitate comprehensive registration. The process includes identity verification, demographic profiling, and work history documentation to determine specific benefit eligibility. Aggregators must conduct annual self-assessment and remit contributions by June 30th, calculated as either a percentage of annual turnover or 5% of worker liability, whichever is lower. Final returns must be submitted by October 31st following audited account completion. Additionally, aggregators must maintain comprehensive worker records, including hours worked, payment details, and employment conditions. The central government will appoint a dedicated authority to manage contributions and administer a segregated Social Security fund for these workers. Delayed aggregator payments incur 1% monthly interest penalties. The authority bears responsibility for prudent fund management, operational transparency, and regular performance reporting. Registered workers receive tiered benefits, including life and disability protection, health and maternity coverage, retirement security, and educational support for dependents. The benefit distribution follows a prioritized approach, beginning with essential health protections before expanding to comprehensive Social Security as funding capacity increases. State governments can augment the central fund with supplementary resources to enhance benefit adequacy. They may establish regional welfare boards to oversee implementation and address locality-specific needs of workers within their jurisdictions, creating a multi-layered support system. Compliance, monitoring, and enforcement. These rules establish robust oversight through mandatory record-keeping, systematic reporting, and graduated penalties, with specific provisions for tracking employment information and ensuring financial accountability across all sectors. Key regulatory parameters: administrative expense cap, maximum 15% of revenue allocated to administrative costs, ensuring the majority of funds directly support worker benefits. Appeal timeframe: 60-day window for filing appeals against code orders, with potential extensions for exceptional circumstances. Penalty structure: 1% monthly interest on delayed payments, compounded quarterly for persistent non-compliance. Financial oversight: mandatory annual independent audits of all implementing agencies' performance reporting, quarterly reports submitted to the central government by all Social Security organizations. Comprehensive compliance and enforcement mechanisms include mandatory digital record maintenance, workplace notice displays, and annual electronic returns accessible to inspection authorities, electronic or hard copy register of women employees documenting maternity benefits and equal remuneration, compliance real-time compliance monitoring systems for establishments above specified threshold, structured procedures for compounding offenses through Form 24 notices. The 15-day window for offenders to pay specified penalties, with amounts varying by establishment size and violation severity. Escalating consequences for repeat offenders, including potential disqualification from government contracts. Employment information monitoring requirements: mandatory reporting of vacancies to career centers before filling positions. 1. Comprehensive vacancy reporting by all government establishments regardless of position level. Private sector establishments with 50+ employees must report vacancies, with additional requirements for specialized roles. 3. Annual submission of Form 26 detailing workforce composition and projected vacancies by skill category. Standardized occupation codes and skill mapping maintained by career centers. 5. Quarterly labor market analysis to identify sector-specific trends and skill gaps. 6. Financial management procedures include multi-tiered approval process for writing off irrecoverable dues, with documented recovery attempts. Structured debt recovery proceedings with defined timelines and escalation pathways. Scheme: specific accounting systems with automated reconciliation. Strict guidelines for Social Security fund investments. Transparent disclosure of fund performance and administrative expenditures. Independent committees providing financial oversight and compliance verification. Supporting infrastructure includes employer training programs on compliance requirements, digital literacy initiatives to facilitate electronic reporting, and a dedicated grievance redressal system addressing non-compliance and service delivery concerns.
Code on Social Security Rules, 2020. A new framework and important law that improves worker protection while making compliance easier for employers across India. Combines 9 previous labor laws into one complete code, creating a single set of rules, expands Social Security benefits to more workers, including gig workers, platform workers, and those in the unorganized sector. It creates better protection for workers with less paperwork and supports worker welfare and business growth. Chapter I lays the groundwork for implementing the Code on Social Security Rules, 2020. Chapter 1. Preliminary Purpose. Put the Code on Social Security, 2020, into practice, combining 9 separate labor laws into one complete framework. Scope. Covers all workplaces across India, including workers left out before, such as informal workers, platform workers, and gig workers. Effective date. Rolled out in stages since 2021, with different parts starting at different times based on readiness. Definitions. Key terms. 1/3. Core definitions that explain who and what the Social Security Code covers. Employee. Any person who works for wages at an establishment, whether hired directly or through a contractor. This doesn't include apprentices. Employer. A person or company that hires workers directly or through contractors. This includes leading employers and those who manage an establishment. Establishment. Any place where business activities happen with 10 or more workers. Wages. Money paid to an employee for work. This doesn't include specific allowances and bonuses that make up less than 50% of total pay. Definitions. Key terms. 2/3. Key organizations and financial elements that help deliver Social Security benefits. Social Security organization. Government bodies, mainly EPFO and ESIC, that manage and run Social Security programs. Insured person. An employee registered under the Code can benefit from applicable schemes. Beneficiary. Any person, employee, or dependent eligible for benefits under the Social Security Code. Contribution. The required payments made by employers, employees, or both to Social Security funds as required by the Code. Definitions. Key terms. 3/3. Key administrative elements are needed to implement the Social Security Code. Form. Standard documents, online or paper, must follow the rules and handle paperwork under the Code. Schedule. Attachments to the Code provide detailed information on implementing and complying with requirements. Code. The Social Security Code 2020 combines 9 previous labor laws about Social Security. Rules. Official central rules that explain how to follow the Code and outline procedures for implementation. Chapter 2. Employees Provident Fund EPF helps secure retirement through regular savings, professional management, and flexible withdrawal options. Contributions. Employers and employees must contribute 12% of monthly wages up to $15,000. Workers can make extra contributions through the Voluntary Provident Fund, VPF. Fund management. EPFO manages investments based on Ministry of Finance guidelines. Yearly interest is added to member accounts. Withdrawal options. Members can take out some money for essential needs like housing, medical care, education, and marriage expenses, without any minimum service period. Final benefits. Full withdrawal allowed at retirement, age 58, if permanently disabled, or when leaving a job. Members can withdraw up to 90% 1 year before retirement. EPF scheme. Who can join EPF now covers all workplaces and workers, strengthening India's social security system. Workplace coverage. All workplaces must join, no matter how many workers they have. All workers eligible. Every worker can join, regardless of how much they earn. Ongoing membership. Once you join, you stay a member even when changing jobs. These new rules are much broader than before. They help all workers in India get retirement benefits, while making it easier for employers to follow the rules. EPF contribution rates. The EPF scheme has 3 funding sources. Employers and employees contribute 12% of monthly wages, while the government adds 1.16%. These rates apply to monthly wages up to $15,000. Contribution breakdown. Employer contribution, 12%, 8.33% goes to the pension scheme. EPS 3.67% goes to the Provident Fund. EPF employee contribution, 12%. All of this money goes into your EPF account. You don't pay tax on this amount under Section 80. See government contribution, 1.16%. This money only goes to the pension fund. This only applies if your salary is within the wage limit. Your contribution is based on your basic salary plus dearness allowance, up to $15,000. You can't contribute more, VPF, if you want, but your employer doesn't have to match the extra amount. EPF enrollment. The EPF enrollment follows 3 simple steps: filling out forms, identity verification, and setting up your account. The EPF enrollment process. Form submission. Fill out and submit digital form 11 through your employer. Include your details and any previous EPF accounts. Identity verification. Complete Aadhaar-based ECIC verification. Other government IDs can be used in exceptional cases. UAN activation. Get your universal account number linked to your verified ID. Your UAN stays with you throughout your career with all employers. EPF. Nomination. EPF now requires online nomination through its main website, replacing paper forms with a more straightforward way to name your beneficiaries. Online process. Submit nominations through the EPF website. Choose recipients, name family members, spouse, children, parents, and set what % each receives. Easy updates. Change your nominations online whenever needed. Online nomination is required for all EPF members with an active UAN. You must first verify your identity online before you can name beneficiaries. Paper forms are no longer accepted. EPF. Withdrawals. 1/2. With proper documents, EPF members can take out large portions, 75 to 90%, of their savings for meaningful life needs. Housing purchase. Construction. Get up to 90% with property. Papers. Educational needs. Take up to 90% of your or your dependents' education. Medical needs. Use up to 90% of serious health treatments. Marriage expenses. Get up to 75% off your or your children's wedding costs. Housing loan payment. Take up to 90% to pay down your home loan. Members need to fill out Form 31 for these withdrawals. Each withdrawal type has rules and required documents you must provide when applying. EPF. Withdrawals. 2/2. EPF members can get their money under certain conditions with different rules for each type of withdrawal. Medical needs. Get up to 90% for serious health issues, yours or your family's, with doctor's documents. Retirement. Get your full account balance at age 58 once you submit your form. Job loss. Access all your money after 2 months without a job using basic ID proof and Form 19. Home loan payment. Take up to 90% to pay off your housing loan with proof from your lender. Most withdrawals are processed within 15 to 30 days after you submit all required documents through the EPFO website. EPF. Transfer of account. EPF accounts now move effortlessly between employers using the UAN system, with less paperwork and faster processing. Improved transfer process. Universal account number. Allows transfers without filling paper forms. Online checking. Safe digital proof of identity through the UAN website. Quick processing. Fast electronic money transfer between employer accounts. Updates. Text messages and emails when your transfer is complete. The UAN system has made account transfers much easier, so you usually don't need to fill out Form 13 anymore. EPF. Interest rates. EPF interest rates have been going up again since 2021 after going down slightly in earlier years. 2018, 8.55% highest rate. 2019 to 2020, 8.5%. Small drop. 2021, 8.1% lowest rate. 2022, 8.15%. Starting to rise. 2023, 8.25%, continuing to go up. Key points to remember. Rates are set each year by the EPFO Central Board of Trustees. Interest goes straight to member accounts without any action needed. No need for manual checking or paperwork. EPF gives better returns than many other safe investment options. The upward trend since 2021 looks suitable for members. EPF returns. Employers must file EPF returns online with complete member verification by the 15th of each month to ensure timely reporting and proper benefit payments. Key filing requirements. Unified monthly statement. A single form that makes reporting easier by replacing multiple separate forms. Due date, 15th of the following month with extra time during holidays. ECR. Electronic Challan, cum return. Must be submitted online through the EPFO website. KIC verification. Required identity checking for all members to maintain accounts and process benefits correctly. EPF. Inspection framework. EPF inspections are carried out by authorized officials who may visit without prior notice. Employers must keep proper records as required by law. Failing to comply leads to fines and possible personal liability for company leaders. Inspector authority. Make surprise visits with proper authorization. Check company records and talk to employees. Review employee verification and money transfer records. Employer responsibilities. Keep complete digital records for at least 5 years. Allow easy access to digital inspections. Provide full universal account number details and yearly compliance certificates. Non-compliance consequences. Heavy fines under updated laws. 12% annual interest on unpaid amounts. Company directors and officers can be personally responsible. Non-compliant companies named on government websites. Chapter 3. Employee State Insurance Scheme, ESIS, a government social security program that provides health care and financial support to workers and their families. Key components. Medical benefits. Health care through ESIC hospitals for workers and their families. Financial protection. Payments during sickness, maternity, disability, and for dependents of workers earning below 21,000 per month. Expanded coverage. Now includes contract workers, construction workers, and other vulnerable groups. ESIS is India's main worker protection program under the Social Security Code 2020. It provides health care and financial support through an electronic system that reduces paperwork. ESIS, who is covered. The employee state insurance scheme covers workplaces with 10+ workers, applies to employees earning up to $25,000 per month, and works across India with a planned rollout. Types of workplaces covered: all factory S regardless of size, business places with 10 or more workers, exceptional workplaces named by the government. How it works across India: the same rules for who qualifies across India, special regulations for northeast areas, extra focus on key industrial areas which workers qualify. Workers earning up to $25,000 monthly now includes part-time and gig workers. All eligible workers must join ESIS. Registration process: ESIS registration uses a simple 3-step online system. Employers must register within 15 days. Employees sign up with Aadhaar, and all documents are handled digitally. Employer registration must register with ESIC within 15 days of when the Act applies. Easy online process through the ESIC website. Employee enrollment: simple online registration with fewer document requirements. Aadhaar based verification replaces paper forms. Digital documentation: each insured person gets a unique digital insurance number. Digital verification system removes the need for physical cards. ESIS contribution rates: ESIS works through shared payments from both employers and workers. Companies pay more than workers do. This system covers workers in places with 10 or more employees. Who pays what? Employer: 3.25% of monthly wages, up to $21,000. Salary: employee: 0.75% of monthly wages. Workers earning less than $25,000/month don't pay. Total: 4.00% of total payment. State governments also pay 12.5% of medical costs. Note: this applies to all workplaces with 10+ workers across India, 20+ workers in Maharashtra. ESIS benefits: 1/3. ESIS helps workers with healthcare, income during illness, and support during maternity leave. Medical benefit: workers and their families receive free health care at ESIC hospitals, with no cost limits, and no need to pay out of pocket. Sickness benefit: get 70% of your wages when sick for up to 91 days yearly. Receive 80% for long-term illnesses that need extended treatment. Maternity benefit: receive full wages for 26 weeks, including up to 8 weeks before delivery. I can't get 1 extra month for medical issues. Apply online for faster payment. ESIS benefits: 2/3. ESIS helps workers with money when they get hurt, when a working family member dies, or when they lose their job. Disablement benefit: temporary injury: you get 90% of your wages while you recover. Permanent injury: you get a monthly pension for life based on how severe your disability is. Dependents benefit: family support: if a worker dies from a job injury or work illness, their family gets 90% of their wages as a monthly pension. Unemployment allowance: Atal Bimat Vyakti Kalyan Yojana: money support for up to 90 days when you lose your job. To qualify, you need at least 2 years of work with ESIS coverage. ESIS benefits: 3/3. ESIS supports workers and their families through funeral help, rehab programs, and better healthcare services. Funeral expenses: one-time payment of $15,000 for funeral costs directly given to the oldest family member, available right away, with no waiting period. Rehabilitation benefit: complete physical and job training services, special training for new career paths, artificial limbs, and helpful devices when needed. Additional benefits: regular health checkups and wellness programs, medical coverage for life after retirement, better healthcare through Ayushman ESIC partnership, extended 26-week maternity benefits with full pay. ESIS returns: employers must submit monthly electronic returns with employee contribution details by the 15th of each month through the ESIC portal, replacing paper forms. Return filing requirements: monthly returns, electronic form ECR, with employee and payment details. 1. Filing timeline: due by the 15th of the following month with late fees. 2. Submission method: only through the ESIC portal using digital signature. 3. Companies must keep digital records of wages and ESIC payments for review. All returns must include current employee information, such as new hires, departures, and wage changes. This online system has replaced the old paper Form 5, making compliance easier and reducing paperwork. ESIS inspections: ESIC has improved its inspection system using digital tools, data analysis, and better compliance methods. Key inspection elements: digital records: keep all records in electronic form that can't be accessed through the ESIC portal. Risk-based approach: inspections are planned based on past compliance and risk factors. Quick verification: instant checking of coverage status and contribution accuracy. Step-by-step enforcement: different levels of penalties with a focus on helping employers comply. This updated system makes paperwork easier for employers who follow the rules. Most monitoring happens through the digital system instead of paper documents. Chapter 4. Gratuity. Gratuity is a retirement benefit after 5 years working with the same employer. It's based on your final pay and how long you work there. All claims are processed online. Key gratuity provisions. When you qualify, after working 5 years with the same employer, this rule doesn't apply if you die or become permanently disabled. 1. How it's calculated. Your last salary x 15/26x years of service. Maximum benefit is 20 lakhs. 2. How to apply. Submit your claim through the official website within 30 days of becoming eligible. 3. When you get paid, money is sent to your bank account within 15 days after your claim is approved. 4. Gratuity. Eligibility. Gratuity is a benefit you get after working 5 years with one employer, paid when you leave your job. Special rules apply for death and disability cases. Service requirement. You need at least 5 years of continuous work with the same employer. This applies to all employee types, including fixed-term contracts. 1. When you get it, you receive a gratuity when you retire, resign, terminate, or complete your fixed-term contract. It's also paid in cases of death or disability. 2. Exceptional cases. The 5-year rule doesn't apply if death or disability happens due to workplace accidents or job-related illnesses. 3. Who's covered? All employees qualify regardless of job title, salary, or contract type. 4. Gratuity. Calculation. The longer you work, the more gratuity you earn, providing financial security when you leave your job. Basic formula. You get 15 days wages each year you work. Payout range. Amounts vary from 57,692 after 5 years to 346,153 after 30 years. Tax benefit. No tax on gratuity up to 20 lakh under current rules. How we calculate. Basic salary plus dearness allowance percent 26x 15x years work tax savings. You pay no tax on gratuity up to 20 lakh wage basis. Calculated using your last drawn salary for each year of service. Gratuity. Nomination. Modern gratuity nomination processes allow easy selection of nominees with simple digital options and broader eligibility. Form F submission. Submit nomination using Form F through online portal or paper documents. The form needs basic nominee information and the relationship to you. Expanded nominee eligibility. You can nominate anyone, not just family members. You can name multiple nominees and specify what percentage each receives. Digital nomination management. Update your nomination details easily online when available. Employers must give you a receipt and keep secure electronic records of all nominations. Gratuity. Payment. Gratuity payment follows a simple process with clear steps for application, calculation, payment timing, and consequences for delays. How to apply. Fill out Form I and submit it to start the payment process. How it's calculated. The last salary x 15/26x years worked, counting any half year or more as a full year. When you get paid, employer must pay the full amount within 30 days after approval. What happens if delayed? Employers who delay or refuse payment may face up to 1 year in jail and/or fines up to 20,000.
Gratuity disputes. Gratuity disputes follow a 3-step process: filing with the controlling authority, mediation, and decision-making, and appeals if needed, with in-person and online options available. Filing complaints apply to the controlling authority. Online submission through the official website is accepted. Include all supporting documents and evidence. Must file within 2 years from when the issue arose. Resolution process. Authority reviews if the complaint has merit first. Try to resolve through the required mediation. Online meetings are allowed for those who live far away. The process must be completed within 90 days. Appeals. File appeals within 90 days of the decision. Online filing system available. Simplified single window system for processing. Can only go to court after completing the appeals process. Gratuity returns. New rules required digital record keeping, simpler online checking processes, and more substantial penalties for gratuity violations. Digital record keeping. Employers must keep secure electronic records of employee work history and gratuity calculations. Records must be kept for at least 5 years after an employee leaves. Employee service records must be updated online every 3 months. Online reporting. Officials check gratuity records online through a central website. All supporting documents must be available digitally in standard formats. Companies must report compliance in real time with automatic alerts. Stricter penalties. Breaking these rules leads to higher fines based on company size. Deliberate violations may lead to legal action against the company and individuals. Repeat offenders face mandatory audits and closer monitoring. Chapter 5. Employees' compensation. Better workplace injury protection with good medical benefits, money support, and easy digital processing. The updated employee compensation system protects workers who are hurt on the job. This system uses simple steps and direct payments to pay workers quickly. Better medical coverage. Full payment for treatment, therapy, and recovery costs. Money protection. Clear payment system for injuries, disabilities, and deaths based on standard calculations. Fast processing. A paperless digital claims system for more rapid approvals is needed. Employees' compensation, who can apply protection for all workers covering job-related injuries through an easy-to-use online claims system. Main requirements, who is covered. All workers in listed workplaces, with no salary limits. Valid incidents, injuries or illnesses directly caused by work activities. How to apply. All claims are submitted through the online portal for better tracking. Who handles claims. Approved insurance companies or government funds manage the payments. Employees' compensation. How to report injuries. An easy-to-use digital system that handles workplace injury claims from the first report to a medical assessment. The reporting process follows these key steps. Record the incident. Document any injury or illness during work. 1. Submit the report. Employer must file online within 48 hours of learning about the incident. 2. Process the claim. The system checks the details, finds a tracking number, and sends it to the correct department. 3. Complete medical review. Approved doctors examine and document injuries through the online system. 4. Employees' compensation. How we calculate benefits. We determine compensation based on injury type, using simple percentages of monthly pay for each category. Benefit calculation guide. Death cases, 60% of monthly pay adjusted for age complete disability, 70% of monthly pay adjusted for age partial disability. Your disability percentage X complete disability amount temporary disability, 35% of monthly pay, paid regularly. Note, all payments have legal salary limits. Medical costs are handled and paid back separately. Employees' compensation. Payments must be sent electronically within 30 days through bank transfers. This replaces paper checks and provides better proof of payment. Payment process. Assessment. The T. Commissioner reviews claims and sets the final payment amount. 1. Electronic transfer. Money goes directly to the employee's bank account. Verification. A digital receipt is sent to everyone as proof of payment. 3. Key requirements. All payments must be made electronically within 30 days after assessment. Paper checks are no longer used in death cases. The commissioner sends proper amounts to each family member through an online system for children. Money is held in guardian-managed accounts until they become adults. Employees' compensation. Disputes. The dispute process provides a clear path from filing to appeal. The commissioner makes legally binding decisions through faster procedures. Dispute resolution process. Dispute identification. Formal disagreement about liability, compensation amount, or who qualifies. 1. Formal application. Submit to commissioner within 3 years from the incident summary procedure. Faster review process with simpler evidence requirements. 3. Determination. Commissioner issues payment order with clear reasoning. 4. Appeal process. Appeals can be filed with the tribunal within 30 days. The commissioner now has more authority to resolve disputes quickly. Employers must pay within 30 days of the order or face penalties and interest. Applications can now be submitted online through the secure portal. Eliminating paper forms. Chapter 6. Maternity benefit. Maternity benefits provide money and health protection for women employees during pregnancy and after childbirth, with benefits based on how long they've worked and family size. Key provisions. Eligibility. Must work at least 80 days in the 12 months before the pected delivery date. Leave time. 26 weeks paid leave for first 2 children, 12 weeks for additional children payment, based on the average daily wage during the leave period. Extra benefits. Breaks for nursing, options to work from home, and access to child care at work. Maternity benefit. Eligibility. Employees must work for at least 80 days to get maternity benefits 12 months before their due date. These rules apply to all workplaces and need only basic paperwork. Work requirement. At least 80 working days in the 12 months before expected delivery. This count includes paid leave, weekly days off, and casual leave. Applies to all workplaces. All employers must follow these rules. Government offices, private companies, factories, and shops. Company size doesn't matter. All employers must comply. Paperwork needed. A note from any registered doctor is enough proof. Documents can be submitted online. Maternity benefit. Duration. Maternity leave length changes based on delivery type, number of children, and exceptional cases like adoption or surrogacy. Leave duration by category. Standard delivery. 26 weeks total leave before delivery, up to 8 weeks before due date. Miscarriage termination. 6 weeks recovery leave. Tubectomy. 4 weeks after the procedure. Pregnancy, illness. Extra 1 week leave. Adoption, surrogacy. 12 weeks from child's arrival. Special cases. Women with 2+ children get 12 weeks leave. Pre-delivery time off. Maximum 8 weeks before the due date. Medical extensions. Available with doctor's note for complications. Maternity benefit. Main benefits. Eligible employees receive a complete benefits package, including full pay, nursing breaks, health allowance, and flexible work options. Key benefits: pay 100% of salary during the approved leave period, based on the employee's average daily wage from recent employment. Nursing breaks: 2 breaks during work hours for baby care until the child is 15 months old. Health allowance: 3,500 bonus for pregnancy and afterbirth care costs, updated by the government when needed. Flexible work: work from home options where job duties allow, as agreed between employee and employer. Maternity benefit: child care facility companies with 50+ employees must provide child care for children under 6 years, helping working mothers stay connected with their children during work hours. Who must provide this? All workplaces with 50 or more employees, as required by the Maternity Benefit Amendment Act 2017. For which children? Children under 6 years old, with age-appropriate activities and qualified caregivers. Visiting rights: mothers can see their children 4 times daily, including during nursing breaks and rest. Visit length depends on company rules. Location options: companies can build on-site facilities or set up shared child care centers within 500 meters of work, alone or with other companies. Maternity benefit notification process: the maternity benefit process requires proper employee paperwork, employer confirmation, and record-keeping within set timeframes. Employee notification requirements: advance notice: give written notice at least 8 weeks before your leave starts. Medical documentation: include a doctor's note confirming your due date, leave duration, state how long you'll be on leave, up to 26 weeks. Schedule changes: let your employer know early if your dates change. Employer obligations: timely response: give quick written confirmation of leave requests. Mandatory approval: cannot reject valid maternity leave requests. Employment protection: cannot fire employees during maternity leave. Financial compliance: pay all maternity benefits on time. Documentation standards: format flexibility: digital and paper notifications are both accepted. Retention period: keep all records for at least 3 years. Digital storage: electronic storage systems allow for keeping records. Transparency: allow employees to access their maternity records. Maternity benefit returns: our digital system makes compliance easier through online submissions, simpler reporting, and self-checking options. Key parts of the new return system: online forms: fill out all returns online through our secure website at any time. Simpler information: report only what's needed, with 60% fewer form fields than before. Yearly filing: submit just once a year by March 31st, instead of every 3 months. Self-checking: use online declarations with automatic checking, reducing in-person inspections while meeting rules. Building workers cess: a required 1% tax on building projects goes straight to registered construction workers to help pay for welfare programs and benefits. Assessment: 1% fee based on total project cost, figured out by the employer. Payment: pay online through the official website within 30 days of starting the project. Eligibility: only workers signed up with the Construction Welfare Board can get benefits. Distribution: money sent directly to workers' bank accounts. Building workers cess: who must pay a required 1% tax on building projects worth over 10 lakhs that fund welfare programs for construction workers. Projects that must pay: all building projects costing more than 10 lakhs, includes homes, offices, roads, bridges, railways, airports, and other significant structures. How the money helps: money goes only to programs that support construction workers, pays for healthcare, training, pensions, and accident coverage. How it works: the online system makes registration and payment easy. Real-time tracking works with state welfare offices. Money goes directly to workers who qualify. Building workers cess: current rate: a 1% fee on total building cost applies to all qualifying projects. Employers must pay this within 30 days of starting construction. Key details of building workers cess: current cess rate: 1% charged on the total cost of eligible building projects. Employer liability: 100% project owners must pay the full amount. Compliance timeline: 30 days. Payment must be made within this time frame after starting the project. Land costs and GST are omitted when calculating the cess. All payments must be made online, with required self-reports every 3 months. Recent law changes have created more substantial penalties for late or missed payments. Building workers cess: registration process: the registration system offers easy digital sign-up for employers, simple paperwork for workers with no age limits, and access to welfare programs, healthcare, and training opportunities, employer registration requirements online SIGNUP, through a secure website digital project document submission explicit cost declaration, link to GST automatic updates on construction progress worker registration eligibility open to workers, of any age proof of at least 60 days of construction work identity verification, using ADHER free registration for all workers registration benefits overview direct payments, to welfare programs accident and disability insurance access to skill training programs nationwide healthcare services building workers CES. Returns CES returns, use a simple quarterly reporting system with required online filing, and a modern self-check approach, making it easier to comply while reducing paperwork. Return preparation complete quarterly returns that combine all building costs and related CES calculations. Only direct building costs are included when calculating the CES amount. Electronic filing required online submission within 30 days. After each quarter ends, secure online verification system with instant confirmation that replaces paper form self-assessment system trust-based certification with random audits instead of regular, in-person inspections. Reduced penalties for those who voluntarily report their mistakes. Chapter 8. Administration. A three-tier system that manages Social Security programs from national planning to local service delivery. Three-tier administrative framework. Central government creates policies, sets standards, and ensures programs are run consistently across the country. State welfare boards runs programs at the state level, manages funds, and follows central government guidelines. Facilitation centers handles local registrations, processes benefit claims, and serves as the primary contact point for citizens. This system connects policymakers with the agencies that implement programs. Digital tools help reduce delays, speed up benefit payments, and improve the experience for people using Social Security services. Social Security boards governing bodies with digital tools that ensure effective and clear management of Social Security programs. Board composition. Equal representation from government, employers, and workers to include all viewpoints. Core functions. Creating policies based on facts, managing funds openly, and using data to guide decisions and measure results. Financial oversight, managing secure digital payments, developing investment strategies, and ensuring rules are followed. Regulatory authority, ensuring Social Security laws are followed consistently, and creating standard procedures across all regions. Inspections. A thorough inspection system with digital tools, clear authority guidelines, and easy-to-use electronic compliance methods. Inspector appointment digital system for notifying appointed inspectors precise boundaries for inspection areas based on scheme coverage. Secure digital ID verification for inspectors. Coordinated inspection process across schemes to reduce duplication. Inspector powers right to enter premises with advance notice authority to review all relevant documents. Ability to interview people involved through various methods. Digital tools to record compliance issues on the spot. Employer obligations. Keep compliance tracking systems up to date. Provide requested documents. Promptly submit regular compliance reports online. Fix identified problems quickly with progress tracking. A three-level system of penalties that match the seriousness of violations and whether they were intentional. Current compliance framework. Our system has 3 levels with increasing penalties. Administrative non-compliance, small mistakes in paperwork, missteps, or late filings that get minor penalties meant to encourage fixes rather than punish one. Intermediate violations, bigger compliance problems showing system failures, resulting in moderate fines and required action plans. 2. Critical violations, intentional wrongdoing, fraud, or repeated non-compliance that leads to heavy fines, possible banning, and criminal charges when needed. 3. This stepped approach ensures fair responses based on how severe the violation is, past compliance, and efforts to fix problems. Following the latest rules and global standards. Penalties for non-compliance. 1/2. The Social Security Code sets strict monetary penalties from $25,000 to $100,000, with possible jail time based on how severe the violation is. Not paying required contributions. Fines up to $100,000 and/or jail time up to 5 years. Not registering your business. Fines up to $50,000 and/or jail time up to 1 year. Making false statements. Fines up to $50,000 and/or jail time up to 1 year. Not submitting required reports. Fines up to $25,000 plus extra daily fines for ongoing failures. These substantial penalties show the government is serious about ensuring employers follow Social Security rules. Penalties for non-compliance. 2/2. The code establishes strong enforcement systems, including legal actions, debt collection methods, and increasing penalties. Legal action. Court proceedings started against employers who repeatedly fail to comply with safeguards to protect legal rights. Debt collection. Unpaid amounts collected like income tax debts or through the Revenue Recovery Act. Penalty amounts. Fines up to 100% of the unpaid amount for late or missed payments repeat offenders, higher fines of up to 100,000, and possible jail time for those who break the rules multiple times. Note, these penalties match those in the 2020 Unified Social Security Code Regulations, Chapter 9. Miscellaneous. This chapter improves how the government implements the code by creating simpler digital systems and allowing more time to solve implementation problems. Solving implementation problem. The central government can issue orders to fix implementation issues within 3 years of starting the code, extended from the previous 2-year period. Digital systems. Electronic platforms are now the main way to handle proceedings and notifications, reducing paperwork and administrative work. Making rules. The central government can create digital compliance rules with clear guidelines while giving state governments the power to handle local implementation matters. Power to make rules and improve efficiency by improving regulations through digital tools, faster approvals, and easier updates. The rulemaking process includes these key steps. Rule drafting. The central government creates unified regulations, removing scattered old procedures and cutting down on overlap. 1. Online consultation. Draft rules posted on digital platforms with a required 45-day period for public feedback to include all voices. 2. Faster approval. Rules are processed through a single approval system, significantly reducing waiting times. 3. Digital publishing. Final rules are published in the e-Gazette, and instant alerts are sent to registered users and agencies. 4. Easy updates. Quick procedure for technical changes, keeping regulations up to date. 5. Updated schedules. New digital formats, clear calculation methods, and better guidelines replace old, scattered regulations. Clearer information. New code schedules provide simple, easy-to-follow guidance. Better digital tools, user-friendly electronic forms, and clear rate tables make work easier. Single system. Standard methods and combined guidelines fix conflicts between previously separate systems. Modern approach. Outdated and unnecessary compliance requirements removed. Conclusion. The Social Security Code marks a significant shift in India's labor laws. It brings together scattered rules, protects more workers than before, and creates a system supporting workers' needs and business growth. Unified framework. Combines 9 separate labor laws into one clear code, removing conflicts and making rules more straightforward. Expanded coverage. Brings essential benefits to workers left out before, including those in casual jobs, gig work, and app-based employment. Enhanced protection. Creates better safety nets for today's workforce, and ensures decent working conditions for all types of jobs. Simplified compliance. Offers easy-to-use digital tools that cut down on paperwork, while making the system more open and accessible for employers and workers.